Hey,
Hey, besties!
Okay, so we are by ourselves
today. I'm so excited.
That is because we're having a very real and
deep,
honest,
deep
conversation. Let's make this just a little ASMR.
You are funny, babe.
It's getting real today, guys.
It is getting real. This has been on our hearts for a while now, and we just feel like we want to be open.
Yes.
As open as possible with y'all because y'all are part of our family and we love y'all.
Yes, 100%. And because we love y'all, we're going to be honest with y'all.
Yeah.
We're going to be real with y'all.
Exactly.
That's definitely something we put in our own marriage, and that's definitely something we want to talk about today.
Yes.
Honestly, babe, I think we get a pass to talk about this one because we've been through it, and this is like a big part of our testimony.
Let's do it, babe.
I'm going to be real with y'all. God has given us so much wisdom, and we want to share with y'all. So, like we said, it's really deep. It's really honest. It's really real today.
Just trying to spread the good word of God. Let's do it.
And like I was talking about testimony, though, the reason why we want to share our testimony so much is because we definitely feel like God has called the unqualified to qualify them. And we were definitely unqualified at a point in time. We're still unqualified, but we're not perfect by any means. But we do have a lot of wisdom. We do have a lot of faith. It just things that God has took us through and put us through so that we can share that testimony and we can bring other people to him.
Exactly.
A lot of people think testimonies are just like something to be embarrassed of or something that, you know, you kind of want to shield. But I feel like God prepared us behind closed doors so that we can be in front of the doors now and in the open and out about it and lead more people to him that could be going through the same thing as us.
Why waste your testimony?
Yes.
I feel like people's testimony, especially like just speaking because I know our testimony is so great, it's like it can help so much people out there because a lot of people go through the same seasons. So it's like, why would we hold God's work back, basically? Everything he's given to us, everything that happened in our lives in the past is for a reason. He placed us in them seasons for a reason. And I feel like that's to spread it. To spread it to as much people. If one person, just one person, babe, can honestly change their life because of what we're talking about, that just feels so good to me.
That's literally all it's about.
Literally.
So let's just dive like right into it.
Let's dive it. Let's do it, baby. I'm ready. I'm excited.
All right, y'all, we're talking about sex. We are talking about sex.
Yes.
So things that we wish we would have known for our marriage or before our marriage, and things that we've just learned that could literally help you in your relationship, your marriage, any of those things. But we're being honest and real. So first things first, just to dive like right into it, because this is not something that we did, but we wish we would have did, and it's kind of something we're definitely going to teach our daughters and stuff too. But don't have sex before marriage.
Oh man, yes.
Don't have sex before
marriage. I can go back, I would for sure. I would for sure 100%. Do it right. Obviously we had sex before marriage because we had Cosin. But we did at a younger age too before we found Christ.
Yes.
But once we did find Christ and we dove deep into him and stuff, we gave it up. Like y'all, it's not seen from the public or nothing, but behind closed doors, we gave it up for like 4 or 5 months.
Yes.
Before we got married, because we looked at each other and we was like, this is very important to us, and this would help our marriage
100%.
too. Like, because as a man too, like I needed to learn my wife's temple, basically, because my wife's body is her temple. That is her safe place. That's everything to her. So in the past, I used to not respect it as God called me to respect it. I used to, because at such a young age too, for me, it was like I was exposed to so many sexual things, you know?
100%.
You know, like starting, I mean, I don't even remember the age, but it was very young. I was exposed to porn and all this and that, like the movies, basically. They had movies where it would show little, you know, images and stuff, and you'd be like, oh my God, as a boy. So that exposed me at such a young age, and it also put that view in my head of not what's realistic with a woman's body and my woman's body growing up too. So I would always not respect your body.
I think another thing that kind of ties into that we've talked about multiple times too is like, so Cullen started watching at a very young age and was exposed to that, which is why we're very, very firm on our boundaries with our kids. Like no sleepovers, no any of that, because like it was also with your cousins and stuff like you said. And there was just a lot of like sin and stuff like all around that. And it kind of created a perverted image of sex and what it should look like. And Cullen kind of went through a porn addiction at some point in time, and I
opened up to you about that too.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I was not expecting that. We were literally still getting closer to God in that timeline. And we did freedom, I think it was, and
freedom.
We started to be like stripped of all the things that weren't of God, and like free us.
You know, it opened my heart to you too, to be like, because I was growing up, I felt like I could never express myself either, you know, and I felt like I could never open up. But once I realized, like, you are my other half, Lexi, like you are my person. So it's like God calls me to open up about anything, any sin in the past I did, anything, because, and then opening up to you is like such a relief too, because once you hold things in,
you're not harboring it.
Yes. And you're like fighting it.
You don't feel like it's a secret.
Exactly.
Like,
and you're making it so much worse on you. And it's like, it's blocking the journey that you could be on too, because you're sitting there and you're dwelling on the past and you're dwelling on those things. But if you open up to someone, it feels so good. So that day when I opened up to you, we was in the car, remember that? And we talked for like 2 hours, and
we talked in the car for 2 hours multiple times. Like this is probably a weekly thing, honestly.
But it was just whenever it was probably like 3 months, 4 months in me diving deep into God and learning about Him and stuff. And God just put it on my heart, like, I need to open up to her because I was struggling with it. And I felt like if I open up to you, like, that would kind of cause that wall for me, to put up that wall, to close it off and not to go back to it either. So I just, one day, God put it on my heart, and I looked at you and I was like, babe, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm addicted. Like, it was almost like an everyday thing. Like, it was very addicting. I was doing it at work, whatever the case may be.
And that's insane, because this is right before we were married too. I feel like God kind of brought us on a closer level that we've like never felt before. Like
from that,
there was no shame. Like He stripped us of everything, and we just kind of like let each other know everything about each other. And it's like it got better and better as we started to bond on those things that were like hidden, you know, and He kind of brought them out. So
But I dealt with that because I was so addicted to it, is because like I was exposed at a young age and I didn't know it was wrong, basically, if that makes sense. So I was just watching it and enjoying it, because the enemy was putting in my head that this is what you need. This is reality. But it's not reality.
No.
Because now that I'm a man following Christ, I'm a Christ-centered man, now I know what true sex looks like and what it ultimately is, and what God persuades it as.
And see, with that, there's a lot of things going through my mind, like so many topics we can touch on just like based on this. One of the main things I do want to say though is like God called us to be transparent with each other, like no secrets or anything, and that kind of bonded us on a level like no other. The other thing is like to be transparent with your partner like that, so that you can obtain and reach that fruitfulness in your marriage, and the bond, and just like the sacred parts of it. You know, like we're closer than ever before. Like we were close before, but that just kind of builds the friendship. That kind of builds, you know, the trust. That kind of builds everything. And why we're able to like flow so well and mesh so well together and like walk to those golden roads like together, you know what I mean? Like we both see God in like the same image, and we see kind of like the same things. Another thing is like back to the porn situation and how we're talking about sex, which is why we brought up the porn situation. I also was introduced to porn at a very, I wouldn't say like teenager age. I wouldn't say like young age, because I wasn't watching porn as young as he was, but he's also a man. He's also a boy. Like boys have it different.
Boys, cousins, and
they're
a little
sleepovers
older than me.
and so, and that's another thing too, babe, that I do want to touch base on, because we talk a lot about breaking generational trauma and curses and patterns and stuff. And that's another thing that kind of like perverted your image of sex like in our marriage, was like the way that he looked at sex was like from porn and from the example that he had like set before him. So he was taught to like degrade women and to treat women as like objects and like a game, and you know, just not the way that women should be viewed. He viewed women as like not beautiful things, but more like a target.
You know? It was like a target, and it was like just that image that wasn't, like I
Or like
said,
a piece of
realistic.
meat, to be completely frank.
Honestly though, and it's like you get, I pictured like I get this satisfaction from it, but it's like it's temporary though. You know, with you, it's lifetime happiness.
Exactly.
It's lifetime fulfillment for me because like it's such a beautiful, sex is such a beautiful thing. And
when it's in marriage, and I think that's what we're trying to get at.
Yes.
So like, if you wait and you do it the right way, if you do it God's way, it's so much more beautiful and fruitful.
Yes.
You know, like the experiences that we had beforehand, like in high school and when when our marriage wasn't a marriage, I guess you could say, whenever we were just boyfriend and girlfriend and we were two broken kids, sex looked very different for us.
Yeah.
And I'll be real, back to like how I was talking about how I viewed porn and stuff, like that even made me have a perverted version of sex in my head. So it's like I would try to be those girls
I know
that I was seeing on the
that's
TV.
Me too, like the men and stuff. I'm like, this is how I gotta do it.
Yes.
But it's not like that.
It's not like that.
No,
it's not like that. And one thing I can definitely say like about marriage and stuff too, like, okay, so the enemy tries to get you in bed before you're married, and then he tries to keep you out of bed once you are married.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about that is like sex is the biggest thing. So before you're married, he tries to put you in that like try it before you buy it mindset. Like I remember I used to say that all the time, especially to like all the friends that I had and everything. I'm like, no, I gotta try before I buy it. Like I could never imagine myself like marrying somebody and I don't know like how it's gonna be with them or like if they, you know, like stuff like that. Like I would say all of those things, and it's just like in my mind at those times I thought it was the right way. I thought it was like the good way. It was the worldly way, you know? It's the way that the world wants you to view it. Yep. But God wants you to save that for marriage because it's so much beautiful and more sacred that way. Exactly. And once we're in marriage, that's where it gets hard too, because now you have to be okay with that person's like trauma and stuff. Now you have to work through those things and how you want it to look. Now you have to learn that person, learn their body, and learn all their likes and like dislikes and everything.
Exactly.
Because me being completely real and transparent with y'all, I used to tell Cullen I felt like you treated me like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, you always wanted, but like, what am I getting in return? And like, I'm not really feeling loved. I'm feeling like this is just like a task.
Yeah. And you know? And you see, like, you opening up to me about that too, really put it on my heart. Like I don't want that image of me just wanting that from you, because that's not what I feel in my heart. Right. And that's never what I meant to do or
But
anything.
because of the porn and stuff, like that's why I was perverted and it looked that way.
Yeah. And it's just a battle that I had to fight with Christ as the center, and I had to give it to him. I had to completely tell Christ, like, look, I surrender this to you, Lord. I see my wife as a temple now. I want to respect her body and I want to respect her. And I want to just make her the happiest woman in the world.
Right. I love that. So if we could go back, we definitely would just like stop and do things the right way. And it's so crazy because we both were kind of innocent in those sense, but the enemy came in and he kind of like diluted what we were thinking and like the innocence of us, because both of us, like, I'm gonna be real, like, we were in no rush to do anything like that. We kind of were just like not necessarily like forced into it, but like Cullen had like his first run in, and it was more of like the loud noise and stuff. We're being real. Cullen was a follower. Like, Cullen
I was a follower back then.
He was very like, and he still deals with it a little bit, but he's been delivered from it so much. Being a people pleaser, a lot of us deal with that. A lot of us deal with that. I can say I'm not a people pleaser, but that's just because like I've always been like an alpha in my head, and I don't care what anybody thinks about me.
Of course, but yeah, that's so true, babe. Because like I did have that mindset like of people pleasing and stuff. So with that in the past, because I was not afraid, but I wasn't ready for it. I was scared. I remember we had sleepovers when we was young, before we was both virgins at the time. Yeah. And we had sleepovers.
Oh my, let's talk about that. So crazy.
And I remember the first night she slept at my house.
We barely touched.
Y'all gotta understand. I was so scared. I was so nervous. We slept on the couch, okay? And they got like, what's it called, babe? Like where you put your feet on it?
An ottoman.
An ottoman, right? We pushed the ottoman against the couch in the corner, and I woke up and the ottoman was pushed out a little bit, so I'm literally in the crack.
His neck was hurting.
But I didn't want to move because I was so nervous. So I stayed like that for like 3 hours. I woke up hurting, sore
Yes.
because I'm fighting for my life at 3 hours.
And
But I was
this is
so
us.
nervous to
Yes.
even like touch her and stuff. Like I was
This
so
is
scared.
us in like 8th grade too. So like it was innocent. It was good. It was
Yeah.
a relationship that was like on the right road and
Right,
path.
yeah, of course.
But what made that like not good anymore was like letting the enemy in and letting the world in. So like he made his mistake, and like I think what brought me to, because I wanted to, you know, impress him. I wanted to make sure he wasn't going anywhere. So
Yeah, so you kind of just did it with that mindset.
Yes, I kind of put it in my
Yeah.
head like, oh yeah, like, you know, he's gonna love me more. Like,
Right, and I
this
felt
is
that
really
too
gonna make
from
our
you.
not our marriage, our relationship like
Yeah.
golden. Like, we're finally gonna be together if I
know.
do this with him. Like, you know what I mean?
I know.
And it's just like that's not how it's gonna be. So don't put that try before you buy it mindset in your head either, because that's how we were right before we kind of walked into marriage. Was like maybe a year before, but we wanted to test out the waters. We definitely had our own run-ins with like others and stuff, and that just led us to more brokenness.
Yeah, a lot of brokenness.
A lot
with
of
that.
brokenness.
It's a lot more. Whenever you like you say, you try it before you buy it, and you do all these mistakes in the past, it's just harder to overcome as well.
Yes,
like
it
if
is.
if I had the mindset that I do now, and that we would have waited, and I would have
Right.
waited for like till we got married,
Right.
everything would have been so much better because
Yep.
you wouldn't have to fight everything that the enemy has placed on your
Yes,
heart.
exactly. It would be so much easier. But we do say too, like this is something very big in our lives, and that we put in our everyday lives is to do the hard things.
Yeah, for sure.
They make us better. And honestly, I feel like y'all, God led us through that testimony and led us through those journeys and stuff, just so we can go through it so our children didn't have to or
Yeah.
doesn't have to.
And that's what a
same
lot
thing
of
for
things-
y'all. You
yeah.
know, like we could be helping y'all. Like
know.
we went through it, so you don't have to. Like
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's why we're here. And that's why we're here on this podcast, sharing our testimony every single time we do one, is because we want to help anyone. We want to help the world.
Yes.
Because we know that what God did to us, He changed us completely. He stripped everything from us in the past.
100%.
Like all the stuff we just talked about with sex in the past, my trauma basically and stuff with sex and all that is stripped. Completely
And you know
stripped.
what that leads me to? So if you are like us and you did do it the wrong way, like God is a redeemer.
Yeah.
Like God is going to save you and he makes you new. Like
Exactly.
it's not like you're going to be I don't know what's the word, but it's not like you're going to be like bashed or anything because you did it the wrong way.
No.
And people will try to do that because we've even been bashed for doing it the wrong way.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it's like God is a redeemer and he's such a graceful God. He's such a good God, y'all. Like we serve the most amazing Father.
Literally.
He takes you from those places and he makes you completely new and he gives you a chance to do it right. So that kind of goes into like what we did in our marriage. But another thing too, my head goes everywhere, y'all. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And one thing I love to remember in our life is that he, oh my gosh, got a brain for it.
You good, babe?
He reminds us of the things that we aren't and that we are not doing. That's one of my biggest things, especially like lately. Like it's been a reminder like on my heart and in my head, like in the season that we're walking through now, which we'll get to in another podcast. But just don't let the enemy get in your head and tell you the things that you are not doing or that you are not. Don't let him tell you, you know, like you didn't do it the right way, so you never can do it the right way. Or you're not doing it the right way, so you're horrible, or like you're never gonna know God, or you can't be God's child because you've sinned and you're not doing it right.
Exactly.
Don't let that be in your head.
All
like,
that's gonna block your true self.
Yes.
Everyone is amazing in their
Yes.
own way, and that
Now we're all sinners. Don't get
Yeah,
that.
of
We're all
course.
sinners, but we're
Nobody's
all trying
perfect.
to chase Jesus' heart and
Exactly.
be better. Be
But
as
when you
close to
sit and
Jesus
dwell
as possible.
on what the enemy is telling you about yourself,
Right.
that's gonna make it 10 times harder for you and 10 times worse, because that is not the way to live.
Right.
The enemy is a liar. He will come to kill,
Steal and destroy. Yes,
Like, simple as
100%.
that.
And we have to like be on our P's and Q's about it and just like let God armor us up and be as close to God as possible so that God can, like, the battle's already been won.
Yeah.
But as close as we are to Jesus is how easier it makes it. You know, we're going to do the hard things. We're going to have the hard conversations. But with God at the center and like actually putting God first, like, that's where it gets easier. And that's where, you know, you feel redeemed and you feel more like uplifted. So back to that though, if you have done it wrong, and you have done it like us, he is a redeemer and he's going to save you from it. So this is what we did to be saved from it. So right before marriage, we were getting kind of like in a good groove. You know, we were still having sex, but we started to get closer with the Lord, and it kind of just felt like we were doing something wrong.
I know.
Like
it started
felt
to feel like
a guilty conscience. Yes. No, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It did start with me, but it kind of led toward Cullen.
Yeah.
So it started with me, and I was just like, every time we'd have sex or something, like I would kind of be like, have like this guilty feeling like in the back of my mind, and I would always repent like right after. Like he would. This is us being transparent and real. He would go to like the bathroom or something, and I would be in the bed just like, God, like please forgive me. Like I'm so sorry. Like,
I know.
And I would just be like, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but like I want my husband to love me. Like I don't want him to think I don't love him, and I know this is important to him too. And not saying it was just important to Cullen, because it was important to me too. It's something that, you know, we both loved and were like into. But like I said, like that's where it kind of started, and we kind of were just like, okay, like we don't want to do this anymore. Exactly. I kind of opened up to him, and I was like, babe, I kind of feel like we're doing something wrong. And he just kind of was with me. And that's around the time that he was in the Freedom Group, and we talked about porn and stuff and the perversion of everything, and how like we both were kind of in a mindset where like sex was beautiful, but like it wasn't as beautiful as it is in marriage now. Like I'm gonna just be real. It wasn't beautiful at all compared to what we have now. Yes. Back then it was more like perverted, and it was more like trying to do what we saw, and it was more lust in it than love. It was a lot of lust. Now it's just like strictly like love and beautifulness, and it's just like let's have all the babies in the world.
I know, like it's
let's keep having babies.
Maybe number 3. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. But yes, so we kind of just started to abstain, and it was in the time that we did do premarital counseling, because it was a requirement of our church as well. It was so good, and it kind of like opened up those things that brought us closer together too.
Yeah, we learned a lot from that.
We definitely did. Yeah. But that's where we started to abstain, and we did things the right way, and that's where like it got so good, y'all.
Exactly. And especially stuff like that, the premarital thing we did, is like it opens your eyes as well, because like before you learn how to really put your wife first, as men out there, you really put your wife first, especially in bed. Yeah. It's like that completely gets rid of that darkness that was covering your eyes with the sex part.
Yes. And that reminds me of something too, though, that I learned around that time too, is like he's putting me on like this pedestal, and he's loving me like Christ loved the church and everything. And he wants it, and he's treating it like that. One thing us ladies cannot do is use sex as like something over their head. You know, like we can't refuse it. Like our body is theirs. It's biblical. And I'm not saying like every single time he's like, come here. Like,
I was about to say that too. It's not like that. You do not take anything from that, like to be like, oh well, okay, let's do it now. No, we're not. It doesn't mean that for sure.
Right. It just means like I can't be mad at him one day and be like, I'm not having sex with you today. Like, no, you did this, so guess what? You're not getting none.
Kind of using it against me. Yeah.
Yes, I can't do that. I can't use it for my own revenge, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And God says that because it kind of just like lets us like get rid of all like the bad feelings around it that we have too, where it's just like in marriage you have to be very patient. Marriage will pull all of those characteristics and unholy flaws out of you. Yeah. And marriage will cause you to do the hard things over and over and over again.
Exactly, and because you can't give up either.
Right, no.
So you
like
have to do the hard things.
Yes.
Like I love you, and I know I know we're together forever. So it's like when the enemy tries to come play a part in our life, it's like we're going to get through this together, Lexi. Like we're gonna fight the enemy with God.
The D word is never an option. Divorce is never an option. God does not bless divorce. He doesn't want you to just like give up. He wants you to try again and again and again. And it does get hard. It gets hard for everybody, especially being young and especially through the growing seasons. Like me and Cullen have vowed to be together to the rest of our lives. We literally talk about all the time how we're gonna be in those rocking chairs, watching the sunset, holding our
farm with
our hands,
looking at our girls,
old and wrinkly. Like with this beautiful generation, you know, of like healthy love and healthy patterns, like breaking all those generational curses and patterns. Like we really feel like God chose us to do that, and it's so hard. Like some days, like we cry, you know, we get mad at each other, we fuss. Like, we're never perfect, and we never want anybody to think that we're perfect, of course. But we're also not going to film ourselves arguing and stuff and post that.
Yeah,
like,
it's just...
That's an unrealistic want, guys.
That is very unrealistic. We're trying to put, like, good and positive things out there, you know? It's like, of course, like, you know, the times where we do argue and stuff, that's growth. Right. You know, that is growth. We're arguing and we're learning each other more. And like, whenever she has a problem on her heart that I did, and she opens up to me about it, it helps me learn how to be better and treat her better. Yep. As well.
100%. That's just like the beauty of it, and learning each other more, and God like putting us together. Yeah. And ridding us of all of like that sin and everything. Because once we started to abstain, y'all, that's where it really got like deep and bold and beautiful. And like we realized like all the good parts of it, you know. And I did have Colson. When did we have Colson? We had Colson like... We had Colson the time that we were supposed to get married. I got pregnant whenever we were 5 months
we was going to get married, and we pushed the marriage back.
We were engaged for 5 months, and I got pregnant. So we were going to get married. We were on the path, but clearly we were still, you know, doing those things. Exactly. We were still getting down, but I think it was when I was pregnant, it made it easier for us to abstain too, because I was pregnant. You know, like, of course. It was already done. So it was like, we were getting ready for marriage, prepping up and everything. And once we abstained, it was beautiful.
Yep. It was beautiful.
It was. Okay.
And it is still.
It still is. It definitely is. But that's one thing that we can definitely say is just like, don't have sex before you're married. It's so much more beautiful if you just wait. And if you did have sex before you were married, it's definitely a possibility to abstain. Now, that was another thing, too. It was a little hard for us to abstain at first, but it got easier.
It got easier. It took a little time, but it once we realized, and we dove deeper with Christ.
And that's what I was about to say. So what triggered that too, we dove deeper with Christ, and that's where we kind of just decided, like, let's just get married. Yeah. Because it was so hard to abstain. So we had made it, like 4 months maybe, but like at that point, it was just like,
yeah, we
let's
knew
just get married.
We knew we was meant for each other, right? And everything. It's like, what are we doing? Just waiting.
Yes,
like I love you with all my life.
Same.
Let's get married.
The world wants you to wait, and the world wants you to think like, you know, there's no redeeming it, there's no saving it, and also the world wants you to have this big old fancy wedding and stuff. But I'm gonna be real, y'all. We did it small, and everybody told us like we wish we would have done it that way, and it felt so much more feeling that way because we knew that we were doing it for Jesus, and I think Jesus seeing that from us and surrendering it all too was just his way of saying like, good job, my children. You know, like all we did was get married in the church, and we went have dinner literally right next door to the church right after. But the night that we were married, like it was just so much better, y'all. Like it was amazing, you know? So like if you need to get married now, just literally like don't wait.
Yeah, if you know that God sent you this person, you're gonna feel it.
And don't let the money be a thing. Don't let the want for like this big wedding and stuff be a thing either. Just like go for it, because that's what we did, and it's so much more beautiful. Like think about it, you could pay all this money for the big old wedding, because I used to say I wanted a wedding like Beyonce's. I used to be like, look, we're going big or we're going home. Like, yes, that was my mindset. I'm like, today's the day. Like as a girl, that's what you dream of. You're dreaming of like this big fancy wedding and stuff, but it's like your heart really has to be for Jesus, and you have to think about what marriage is truly about and what it is. Like the money and stuff, like that'll come and go. Money comes back over and over again. But that's not what your marriage should be based on. It's like this big old wedding surrounded by people that probably won't be in your life anymore, or literally being so fake to you. And, you know, you got to guard your heart, too. That's going to be another episode.
For us, half of the people at our wedding, we did.
Oh, yeah. Half of the people that were at our wedding, and we did it small, y'all. We literally did it small.
30 people?
Not even.
20, 30 people?
It probably was like 20 people.
Yeah, 20,
But I'm going to be real, y'all. I wish we wouldn't have invited like nobody. Probably like my Mimo. That's about it. I'm going to be real.
We love Mimo.
We love Mimo.
We love you, Mimo.
I feel like my Mimo would have just been like, yay. And it still would have been good, you know? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Anyways, just don't worry about the money. Don't worry about having that big old wedding or nothing. You know, like, just go for it, because that's what we did, and it was so much more beautiful. And when we could finally have sex, God taught us so much about sex then, and it brought up all that generational trauma and patterns and stuff. Like, Cullen was taught one way to look at me, like a piece of meat. Like, that's all he saw in his life, was like, that's the way that men in his family treated women. And like, I've seen it with my own eyes too, and it's just like, like, I shouldn't be treated like this. Like, I should be treated like how God calls us to. And that called us about that too. That called us to like learn a different kind of love, learn Jesus's love, learn the way that Jesus wanted it to be. Exactly. And breaking habits and breaking the way that you were taught things is so hard. But like we said, you have to do the hard things. Exactly. And for me, back to me, it's like, the porn thing had me thinking I was like a Victoria's Secret model, like on top of the thing, just like.
No, but seriously, you're not lying.
Like, I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. Like, I wanted lights on. I'm like,
dang. You funny, bro. You funny, bro.
I was ready. Like, like it was just different. Like, it was perverted. Like,
because you thought that's how it was supposed to be, or how it's gonna be.
Right. And that was just like a broken me. And like, that's just something the enemy latched onto me with. And he just kind of used sex as like a thing that was just kind of like, different now.
For sure.
But I love that we brought it together to something beautiful. We broke those patterns. We broke the way the world wants it. We let go of those porn addictions,
that has changed.
All that trauma. Yeah. 100%. All that trauma and stuff that we had to deal with, we relearned things.
Relearn each other. I respected your body, and I learned your body too.
I actually remember whenever you started to do that too. I remember we were in your truck once again, and when you were coming back from a meeting, you were doing RCIA at the time, and you got back in the car, and you were like, babe,
I remember that.
I don't want to have sex with you anymore. And you're just like, I see you in a completely different way. And it's just like something kind of clicked in his head. And he's like, I have to respect your body. Like, I respect you. Like, I only see you. That was another thing too, that we wanted to touch base as well.
Eyes. Like, I had wandering eyes, y'all, growing up, especially like porn does not help that.
No, it
porn
doesn't.
is gonna make you do that, and it's gonna make you have wandering eyes to where you looking at everything, and it's like, all I see is you.
Right.
All I see is you. You are so beautiful, and you're perfect to me. Body wise, everything with you, your soul is so sweet.
I love you.
I love you too, baby.
And you're perfect to me too.
Thank you.
And I think that's the beauty of it too, y'all, because like now we've gotten over those obstacles and stuff, and nothing is tainted anymore. Because he did have wandering eyes where it was like, oh, like the try it before you buy it mindset too. Like, oh, look at her. Like, oh, she's bad. Like, da 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 da. Like, let me drop my girlfriend right here and go, da 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 da. And like,
and a lot of men struggle with that too. A lot of men. So like, that's why I'm trying to help just anybody out there, and especially men, because that is not the way to live. Because if you have wandering eyes, it makes you look at your wife in a whole different perspective. Once you get free of that and you let God strip you of that, it's so amazing how you can just look at your wife and it's a completely different image. And it's like, you are so beautiful now. Like, honestly.
Now?
You always been beautiful, but it's a different beautiful. Like, it's just, I love you too, baby. I love you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, like what he was saying, it's just completely different, y'all. Let's see what else we were going to talk about. Guarding our heart in our marriage.
That's what we're going through right now.
An honest conversation about that. So that honestly kind of leads us, like, from the wandering eyes, is just like, that's one of the ways we guard our heart in our marriage, is to not have friends of the opposite sex. So we can have we have friends where we're friends together with that opposite sex, but like, that's about it.
Like, I don't have no girlfriends or like, I don't have no guy friends.
Right, exactly. And I think a lot of people, like, that triggers different people, and they're like, oh, like, why can't you, like, it's just a friend, da da da. But like, you guard your marriage in the way that you want to guard your marriage. But
we're married. We're not kids anymore.
Right, because of the things that we've gone through. Like, Cullen's not gonna go sit up in a room with his girl best friend.
Yeah,
and
why
like,
would I want that anyway?
Like,
I don't know.
I'm
It just
his
doesn't make
best
sense to
friend.
me. It just doesn't even make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either.
And it also could bring out other sides too. Like if you had a guy friend, it could bring jealousy out of me too.
Yes, and bitterness.
That's literally from the enemy. So why would we even risk bringing the enemy in any aspect of our life? It's like it's not worth it.
Like God literally calls us to guard our hearts.
We're best friends.
Literally. And that's why I say it all the time. And it's just like, yes, I have like other girlfriends. Yes, he has other like guy friends and stuff. But like as far as it's like each having like me having a boy best friend and him having like a girl best friend or like no, we're not gonna do that. And that's just like how we guard our marriage. It protects us and it protects our covenant. And we only want things that are gonna honor our covenant. We only want things that are going to honor that around us and that doesn't like cause like division or any of those feelings that aren't from Jesus. Exactly. Like he said, like the bitterness and the jealousness. And for me, I would just kind of like think about like maybe like my past things, which I've let it go, and I've given it completely to God. But that's kind of like a trigger where it's like, oh, like you're out there alone somewhere with a girl, like it's just not okay, you know? It's not. And it's not something that we're gonna like bring into our marriage.
Exactly. And another way of guarding your heart is like, I'll be honest with y'all, there's a lot of snakes in the grass. You know, and we've been talking about that lately, and she brought it up. She's like, calling us snakes in the grass. There's a lot of snakes in the grass for sure, and it could be what you think is the closest people around you too, right? And they can be the snakes. Like they can go behind your back and spread any of your business. That's why we guard our heart from selling anybody. Right. We don't share finances. We don't share nothing that happens behind closed doors with us. We don't share it to anybody. Like if we think that's our closest friends, we keep that secret to ourselves. Because you don't know. Like I put my trust in some of my guy friends that I open up to about us and about our marriage and about our sex life, everything. And then here we go. Now it's spreading to everybody. I'm like, how do people find out about this? Snake in the grass. Yeah,
I'm going to be real. That's one of the biggest things too, y'all. Just keep whatever you're dealing with, like, this is your person. Like, you're going through it with this person. Like, you don't have to go tell anybody else your business.
Why do I have to open up to somebody else when I can open up to my true person right here, my true best friend, my true love of my life?
The healthy way of communication and getting through things is literally just do it with your partner. Yeah. Like, there's no reason to go tell Becky and Angie, like, hey, like, Cullen did this last night, and he's, like, making me so mad and stuff like that. Now, I'll be real, you can get wise counsel, because we do have marriage mentors, too. Colson's nanny and them, like, they are amazing. Whenever I need advice, like, that's who I go to. But that's because, 100%. And my Meemaw. We both talk to my Meemaw whenever we need to vent or something, but it's together. Yeah. You know, like, it's not going, like, vent about him behind his back and, you know, bring it to somebody else, and then like it's misconstrued and it's thought to be like different things, when at the end of the day it's always going to be him. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we're not giving up on our marriage. At the end of the day, we're going to do the hard thing. So it's just fight. Like God calls you to not cast your pearls to pigs. God calls you to guard your heart. He says, I'm sending you out as doves among wolves, or gentle as a dove, something like that. It's not coming to my head right now, but he's basically saying, like, be shrewd as a snake is what he said, but gentle as a dove. I think that's the verse. That is but basically, like, just be on your guard, like sheep among wolves is what he said too. You know, like, you're this gentle and innocent spirit, but you know, like, he gives you so much discernment, you know, like, is this really my friend, or like what is this person's intentions around? You'll start to feel it. We have so much discernment. One of the things that he was trying to get into, though, is like another way that we guard our marriage and we guard our hearts is like we have boundaries. We have biblical boundaries in our marriage and in our hearts. If it does not honor our marriage, if it does not keep what's sacred between us or pull us closer to Jesus, then it has no way for us, no room for us. It has no friend in us. It has, you know, it's not going to be anywhere around us.
Exactly. And some people won't understand our boundaries either, because we don't look the same as everybody.
Right.
We're chosen.
But God didn't call us to be. We're on the narrow path.
To be different.
That's why we're so fruitful, and, you know, like, we love our life. Yeah. We're good where we at, and we know that our integrity is still kept behind closed doors. Exactly. We know that we're still the same people behind closed doors that we're, like, showing, like, people. And even when we have those hard moments and stuff, the integrity is still there. The love like Jesus is still there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're definitely shining. God's light. And I think one of the main things too is like God calls us to be light. And light makes darkness uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
So something that somebody told me, they were like, your life is going to bring out the best in some and the worst in others.
That's really
And
good.
I feel like that was so loud
good.
to me because, you know, God calls us to be light and light makes darkness uncomfortable. So the dark people, they're ruffled, like they're like jealous and bitter and they want us to be down. They, you know, those feelings come out, it's all stirred up and it's just like, why do you feel this way toward me? But it's because I'm light and you're dark.
Exactly. And then with that too, it's like it could be, like I was saying, it could be close people to you because it happened in our lives. It's just, that's why I'm sharing that. It could be the closest people to you. And I pray it's not. For anyone out there, I pray that your friends and stuff, they all like respect you and respect your boundaries and they understand your boundaries. But
to be truly real, like,
the enemy can put that mask over somebody and you'll never know until it finally comes out. The darkness comes. And our light makes them uncomfortable and it finally comes to light and we're like, whoa, like really? Like,
and one thing we've definitely learned is that the enemy does use the people closest to you or the things that like are closest to you. But one thing we have learned too is that a title does not make you entitled. No. So God doesn't call you to reconcile. God calls you to forgive and to be done with the situation and to have your peace and stuff. But he doesn't call you to keep going through it and keep putting yourself in those broken patterns and those patterns that take you away from him or cause you to be unpeaceful or cause you to still be like bound in those chains. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Baby.
Basically what we're getting at is like God has joined us to be together. And God literally says, well, God has joined together, let no man separate. So if man is trying to separate us and divide us in any way, then like man can't be around us. You know what I mean?
This is true.
If it's not going to honor our marriage, if it's not going to teach our children to be more like Jesus, if it's not going to... If it's going to be toxicity around our children and stuff, then like it won't be allowed around us. And we'll just be quietly frank here because we just told y'all we're real and we're transparent. That was the situation that we just dealt with Cullen's parents. And Cullen's parents is a situation that just goes on like over and over and over again. It's a repeating cycle for sure. But the closer we get to the Lord, we realize like it's more looked at as if we think we're better than instead of like clapping for us or like being with us or like hopping on the train, you know, where it's like, oh, like I see what Jesus has done for you, let him do it for me too. Instead of that, it's more like, I'm bitter and I'm Hey
Kosen, you come and join the party?
Okay, so Kosen is joining the party now, but we literally was just like literally in the middle of something. Oh my
goodness, you ate the formula.
Kosi.
All right.
Yeah, we could keep her.
Say hello. Say hi. I love you.
Okay,
girl.
so basically, back to what we were saying. We've worked through seasons of Cullen's parents being very divisive. And what causes that is like Cullen's still being treated as a boy, as a kid. And Cullen has become a man. He has his own family. And God says that when man is bound to his wife, whenever, you know, like you must... leave your mother and father. What does he say?
Well, whenever we become one, it's me becoming one with you, so I leave my mother and father.
Right, 100%. And something that's always thrown to us is, sister, you're gonna have to get out, my girl.
Oh my girl.
Can you go get Bluey?
Go get Bluey. All right.
Like they are literally what matters most.
Literally.
100%.
That's
go close the door. Go close the door. Hurry up. Go close it.
Go get Bluey.
Go get fruit snack. Okay, perfect. Okay. Oh gosh.
All right, now she's crying, but it's okay. So what we were saying?
So we were basically saying what God has joined together, let no man separate. And when you're married to me, like God calls you to leave mother and father.
Leave my family for you.
Right. And something that's always thrown back at us is like the Bible says to honor thy mother and father.
That is when you're a kid, though.
Yes. God has that in the
marriage.
context of a kid because God also says train up a child in the way that they should go.
Exactly.
So God used honor thy mother and father to basically say like be obedient to your parents is what he's saying.
Exactly.
But that's as a kid because God's also instructing us as parents to train up our children in the way that we should go.
Exactly.
And where where our parents, both of our parents, have not necessarily, like, I guess you could say failed, but I look at it as like both of our parents did what they could with the resources that they could. The enemy is so strong. Like, he'll literally, like, make you think of the world and be in the world more than, like, you know, because Jesus is a gentleman too.
Exactly.
God isn't going to throw himself on you. Like, he's going to wait till you find him, and he's going to take your hand, and he's going to carry you through all of those things.
He's going to guide you.
Me and Cullen have been tested over and over again, and we always say, like, we definitely give our parents grace, and we meet them where they're at because we know, like, how hard it is for us as parents now to still, you know, be with Jesus and do parenting the way Jesus wants us to, biblical parenting.
And that's why we say do the hard things, because it's easy doing the easy things.
It is.
It's easy
like,
taking the worldly route 100%. And doing the enemy's ways. It's so easy, and that's why a lot of parents, they
go down that route, yes.
And that's why a lot of kids grow up with trauma, you know, is because they just take the easy route.
Right.
We're on that narrow path, and that narrow path ain't always the easiest. It's doing the hard things. It's sacrificing so much, too.
We sacrifice so much, y'all.
And we're doing it.
But I definitely can say the Lord has rewarded us through those sacrifices, and he definitely has let us know that he is still here with us, and he is blessing the things that we are doing, and he is letting us know, like, y'all keep going and y'all keep doing these right things. You know, it's so easy for me and Cullen to just, like, give up and do what everybody wants us to do, or do what the enemy wants us to do. And another thing is, like, there's demons all around us, and the enemy could be operating through people that you love. He's going to use the ones that you love most.
He will.
But that just brings me back to, like, the seasons that we have walked through with his parents. Like, his parents were just very, like, divisive. They never looked at us as, like, one. So honestly, like, back to the boundaries and stuff, like, it just causes us, like, not to, like, mesh well with that, because, like, if you can't respect our boundaries and you can't,
like,
you know,
they where they failed with it was basically, let me be a man.
Right.
See me as a man. Don't see me as a little boy anymore, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm grown. I have a family. I'm building a family through God. It's like, you have to respect me as a man. You have to respect the boundaries that we are placing, because we are choosing different. We are choosing in our path. Whenever you don't respect our boundaries, that's when the strain comes in between us. And I feel like we can't be one big family, because you're causing a strain whenever we're setting this boundary that we know God put on our heart was best for our future and was going to draw us closer to heaven.
Right.
And that's what we're going to do. Exactly. So whenever something or someone comes in and they try to take down that boundary, like that boundary is not set in stone, it's such a slap in the face.
Right.
It's such a slap in the face. And especially when you thought the boundaries were respected.
Right.
Whenever it was a clear case that, like, these boundaries, this is our boundary, like, we had to sit down with whoever it could be, my parents or our friends, and we have a sit down and we just say, this is our boundaries. We set them in stone, and they're like, oh, we understand, like, won't break your boundaries, and then they do it still. Right. And it's just like, what do you, like, this is hardcore boundaries that we set for a reason.
I think the problem with that is like, being, like we said, like, Cullen still gets treated, like, as a kid more than he does, like, as a father, as a man. Like, I'm gonna be completely real with y'all. There was even, like, a situation where our grass was asked to be cut, and Cullen said no, and, like, the grass was still being touched, and, like, Cullen's like, I said no, like, I'm a man. And then, like, that response was just like, but I was bored, like, I'm gonna do what I want, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, no. But I think what the biggest problem was, like, because Cullen was still getting treated as a kid, like, he was being controlled like a kid, and because there was no longer a fit for control, or Cullen couldn't be controlled anymore, people hate what they can't control. Right. So that's where the problem came in, and that's where it's like, okay, like, we have to lay some boundaries here, like, there's no control here, and that's where I think it's just like, okay, because we can't control you, like, you don't love us, or, like, you know, stuff like that.
And that's the worst part too. Is like, it's not what we're saying.
It's toxic. It's
not
toxic.
What we're doing. We're just setting boundaries for our future.
Right.
My family's future. Right. I left.
If it doesn't honor our marriage covenant, if it's being divisive, like, the control was very divisive. It separated me and Cullen as one. We were to be seen as one. If it does any of those things, period, point blank, biblical boundaries. That's it.
That's right, man.
That's it.
That's right, baby.
Because we're one when we're married. Another thing that we can talk about with marriage too is, like, our finances and stuff. Whenever you become one and you're married, like, it's both of ours.
We're joining.
It's
everything that we do. Everything.
We actually learned that in our premarital counseling too. Like right before we got married is whenever we put our bank accounts together and we were like,
because it was
so easy to catch on to.
If you're married and you have separate accounts, whatever the case may be, it's gonna cause a lot of strain and a lot of mishap. Because I'll be honest with y'all, my wife's more of a breadwinner than I am right now, and like basically like if our joints weren't accounted and I wouldn't be having anything, and she'd be like, "Oh, well, it's my money." That was literally just cause such a strain in our marriage. It's like, why even do that? Because I know we are one. Everything you make is mine too. Everything I do, everything I bring to the table is yours.
Because that's the way God sees us. Exactly. And we just want to be seen the way that God sees us.
Even our vehicles. My truck, I just got a truck, so.
Yay, you got a truck.
Thank you to my wife, my beautiful wife. But it's not my truck, it's our truck.
Yeah. 100%. Something that I wrote down that I definitely want to touch on too is boundaries aren't fear, they're wisdom. So a lot of people could be like, oh, like you have boundaries and stuff because like you want your family like controlled and stuff. You want your family to be like, out of fear, this is what you're making it. But I feel like boundaries are complete wisdom. And the reason why we have boundaries, and these are healthy boundaries, is because of the things that we have gone through or the things that we have seen before us. And I think God has given us enough wisdom. And boundaries aren't fair. Its wisdom is in Matthew 10:16, by the way. Because the wisdom that God has given us and he has blessed us with have led us to make better decisions because of the things that we've seen in the past and stuff. Like it's definitely called us to make better decisions and to be wiser about our decisions and to be obedient. You know what I'm saying? Like, and our life has been so much more fruitful from it. Like, whenever you're closest to Jesus, he gives you all the fruits of his spirit. Yeah. He gives you gentleness, kindness, patience, self-discipline, self-control. And that's all things that we need just as people in the world, in this broken world, that are trying to be more like Jesus and trying to be on the narrow path.
To be the light in the darkness.
Right. And another thing that I want to touch on too is whenever you're introduced to sin, like that's why God tries to keep us away from it. That's why he tries to protect our innocence as long as we can. And that's what we're doing with our children, you know, like we're trying to protect their innocence as long as we can. We're not going to have them exposed to the things that we were exposed to. We're not, even if that goes to like drama and toxicity and, you know, just sleepovers, like it's so much more. It's just all around protection and God's divine protection and wisdom. That's all it's just based on, and it's just like us being parents now and learning from what was, using our testimony and God showing us what not to do. Yeah, it makes it so much more easier, even if it's hard in those moments.
Yep, my girl's innocence are so important to me. Like, gonna protect that as long as possible. So that's
we're trying to get our family to the kingdom.
Exactly, gonna set those boundaries. I don't care who you are, what you do in our life. Those boundaries will be set.
Right. And one thing about it, y'all, is why it's so important too, and staying on that narrow path is because people don't realize, like, our life is like this short. This short compared to this big eternity. In heaven. Like, you know?
I'm getting it. We have to get there.
And I said something to Cullen the other day, and I was talking about, like, how people are always trying to prove that they're good people. Like, we all are sinners. We're all sinners. Yeah, nobody's perfect. Just imagine yourself, like, saying you're a good person, you're a good person, you're a good person your whole life, and not having that integrity, like, behind closed doors, and not just truly valuing, like, your relationship with Jesus or getting closer to Jesus. And then suddenly you're in purgatory or you're in hell, and you're just like, I'm a good person, and, like, you're just burning, you know? And it's just, like, it's such an eye-opener because it's, like, that's all that matters at the end of the day is like getting to heaven. I pray
that nobody has to go through that.
No.
I pray that everyone can get to heaven, but that's
why our mission is so important, and being disciples of Christ too is to get others to heaven. Yes. At the end of the day. So, is there anything else we need to talk about?
That was a great podcast, man.
I think that was amazing.
That was really good.
A real raw and honest conversation.
Our first podcast by ourselves. Really good. Really good.
Is there anything else we need to, like, touch base on our real, raw, honest conversation? being real, being frank. We're an open book, y'all. That's all we literally want y'all to know and to see about us. But yeah, I think we pretty much...
Yeah. Whatever's on y'all heart, if y'all need advice from us, let us know in the comments. We're open book, like she said. We're willing to talk about anything, honestly. So just let us know in the comments. We're trying to help out whoever we can.
Right.
And if we can help out you out there, that's awesome. That makes me feel amazing.
100%. Our goal is to encourage others with our own testimony.
Yep.
We have been through so much, y'all. There's so much wisdom just like sitting in us. And I feel like God has definitely put it on our hearts and like called us. Like now's the time.